I had it pause there. Okay, now we're recording. Good. We didn't record all the juicy stuff. Let's see. Login and password. We talked about that. Oh, just in case. I'll type in the password just in case. So it's the login for me is I guess the owner of the network is my old email. So it's Gary at my investmentservices.com. And a password, I just changed it earlier, is GIA Team PWD. Just like that, uppercase and lowercase. So GIAT is capital, EAM is lowercase, PWD is capital. If you have to use it, I don't mind. But the way it's set up now, everybody should be able to log in under your own login and password. So, okay. Gina says, please hit enter. Gina, I swear, you must be looking over my shoulder or something, so this is funny. Any case, I think that is it. Actually, there's one or two more things here. Now, I'll tell you what, let's get into the agenda, and this will start to make a whole lot more sense. Absolutely raise questions if you have them, okay, guys? So, when you have a meeting coming up, everybody should have their first meetings coming up next week. There's one or two exceptions where we had a discussion and agreed that you should delay your first meeting. Everybody else, though, for the majority of you, are doing your first one next week, okay? Now, this is being recorded, but I would write these notes down, okay? I always look for an article ahead of time, okay? I'm going to share a screen here so I can show you where I go to find an article. And here it is right here, magazine.realtor/daily news. And what they do is, of course, National Association of Realtors, and they go out and scour the world for relevant articles on real estate. So it's not just articles from NAR or National Association of Realtors. There are articles from could be any number of sources. So look at here, encourage tenants to seek rental assistance. Do you think that might be timely? Well, absolutely. So what we would do is click on that, okay? And make sure that's ready ahead of time. So we make sure we get whatever we need for our presentation ready ahead of time. If we were doing this in person, you would obviously print this off and bring a bunch of copies, okay? But I'm assuming everybody's first meeting, with one or two exceptions, is going to be online using Zoom. I think some of you are using Facebook Live, which is awesome. And we have this article ready for use. Now, usually at each group session you're doing this once a month, right? Typically the third week of the month, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, depending on your time zone. Okay, so if you're not on the team, so like Melanie, if you want to do this, what we did is we had Tuesday, the Tuesday in the third week would be Eastern time zone groups. Wednesday would be Central time zone groups, always 7 p.m. relative to the time zone. And Mountain and Pacific would be Pacific time zone. So in any case, what that does allows me to kind of log in and tap in and see how you're doing. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'll be doing that from time to time. I'll be doing it certainly next week. And you'll see me log in. If you do, just kind of ignore me if you want. The challenge is if you say, hey, look, Gary Wilson's on, and you want me to start talking, I'll take over the whole meeting. So you don't want to do that. This is your meeting next week, and I want you to be the leader. And all I'm going to do is make observations. That's all I'm going to do. And you want to record it, absolutely record it. And then you can watch yourself and critique it. And we can do that on a one-on-one. Okay. So in any case, always prepare ahead of time with a relevant article. Now, I'm going to assume or encourage you for your first meeting to have an example of a flip. And I'm going to go into more detail here in a second, okay? So in order to do that, we want to have, let's see, some forms available, okay? Now, again, if you were doing this in person, what you would do is you'd go to your forms and calculators and stuff like that. In the case of a flip, you'll need these two forms. property inspection report. Okay, so go ahead and you guys start taking action here. I want you to log into the Real Estate with Gary Wilson website, go into server level. If you don't do it now, just make sure you do it after we're done tonight. You want to click on the property inspection report. Okay, it's receiving it now, and also click on property rehab report. Okay, so property inspection report's coming up now. Let me go back here. That got downloaded. I'm not sure why the prior one didn't. Property inspection report. Oh, property rehab. Let's do that one. Now that one's downloading. Okay. So what you want to do is when you're doing this in person, send them to everybody who's in your group ahead of time, right? So on Meetup, you have all your people that are members of your Meetup. They also should be on your accompanying Facebook page. And what I would do is before that night's meeting, like the day before, is send these forms to everybody in your group as an attachment or attachments, and also use that as a reminder. Hey, see you tomorrow night. Make sure you have this form available on your computer or print it out to bring with you in person if you're meeting in person. So that's important, right? You want to prepare them with whatever form or document they may need, all right? And also use that as a form of reminder that there's a meeting the next night, and something like that where you're giving them something of value. It increases the show rate and the response rate. Okay, so now they're thinking, oh, this is going to be a working session. I've got these documents now, I've got to have these, and in their mind they're thinking, I've got to have these for the meeting, which means, hey, I'm going to the meeting. You guys follow what I'm saying there? It's not only a way for you to help educate them, it's a way for you to help increase the participation rate, the show rate and the participation rate, right? Let me check the chat box here real quick, because I just saw a couple come in here. Thank you, Melanie, for saying that. Can I speak a second? Absolutely, yes. Cindy, hang on one second. Cindy, let me go back up to the top. Where is Cindy? Should be alphabetical. That's weird. Hang on one second, Cindy. Oop, let's do it this way. Cindy. Cindy, I'm not finding you. I have no idea why. I know you're there because let me see if I click on you here. Cindy Lukehart. You're definitely on. Hang on one second, Cindy. I'll get it figured out. Oh, there you are. Okay. Okay, you're unmuted, Cindy. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
A few minutes ago, you said something about everybody giving out their Facebook and Meetup group pages. I emailed the roster, and that's what I was asking for, and very few sent it back. If you sent back your Meetup group and your Facebook page, thank you, because I think it would be advantageous for us to glean from what others are doing to make sure that it's successful nationwide, and then if it's working better for some, then because those of us that are not Facebook savvy for how to work things would like to rip off and duplicate if it's working.
Not only that, thank you, Cindy, for bringing it up, guys.
David, I agree.
What it does is
to the group when I get done. That right now Judy doesn't have it shareable. I've asked that Judy put it shareable, so we can all put our Facebook and Meetup groups in the same roster. It would just make sense to have it all in that one spreadsheet.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing too, guys, if you join each other's groups, it doesn't mean you're going to participate in everybody's meetings, but what it does is it enhances the appearance of each group. So now you've automatically got 30 other members right off the bat in each of your groups. So if you currently have 20, now you'll have 50. And you'll get each other's messages, and you can see if something looks really good, and you'll see if a discussion is a really hot discussion topic, absolutely grab it, copy it, and use it. You know, so Cindy, thank you very much for bringing it up. So Facebook group and the Meetup group, both everybody should be registering for each other's, so you can see each other's comments. And boost each other's presence in the market online. Okay, so I will share the spreadsheet to the roster, have each one add a spreadsheet. Thanks, Cindy, for doing that. Let's put it in the spreadsheet first. Emails, yes, put it right in the spreadsheet. Exactly. Thank you, David. Okay, so back to this. Where was I? The property inspection form. I'll bring this up. Okay. It's going to take a second to load here. Apologies. I'm back in Appalachian internet servicing, so everything's going to be a little bit slower tonight, guys. So this is one you'll want every time you go over a flip example in one of your sessions. Okay. That's the first thing you do, by the way, on any flip you do. Hang on one second. Let me get back to this. Oops. Okay. Flip inspection report. Also, the next one. So property inspection report. That's the first thing someone does when they're walking through a flip. And then they do the property rehab form where they start putting in numbers. So the two forms go together hand in hand. Okay. So in any case, let's see, have an article, have your forms. Okay. Now you're probably wondering, oh boy, I got to get an example of a flip. Well, here's some good news for everyone who's ever worked on a booklet. So if you could type in the chat box, the word booklet, if you have ever created one of the booklets before, okay? Because if you do, you might get lucky and have one, a booklet that was done with flips in it, okay? So the first, what I'm gonna do is do a practice session tonight, giving you an example of a flip. You could do one with an example of a rental, but I think if we all do it in sync with each other, we can do a better job of helping each other out and supporting each other. So look, Shirley's got one, Betty, Lauren, and Sean, Gary, Tony. So a lot of you have done booklets. Targan, Jamila, Mo, look, most people have done booklets. Hot diggity dog. So the good news is you may already have a sample of a flip that you can use. Whoops, right. This is Saki, and Saki is new. So he doesn't understand proper webinar etiquette with humans' laptops. So I did a little save there. In any case, everybody say hi, Saki. Saki, say hi, everybody. In any case, back to this. What you could do is grab the pages, either your Word doc pages or PDF pages for your flip, and you'll be ready for next week, okay? Or in this case, whatever your next session is. So you have you're gonna hand that out at the meeting, either online or in person, okay? I know some of you are probably thinking, is that something you can send out in advance? The answer is yes, you can. You can send out in advance along with the two forms I just gave you, okay? But I can't tell you if there's any statistics to say one way is better than the other, because the reality is the night of the meeting, I'm going to be sending stuff out anyways. I'll be sharing the links through the chat box here, or if it's in person, I'm going to have extra copies, handing them out, things like that. So bottom line is you can never go wrong with sharing it ahead of time, but if not, don't worry, just bring it with you, have it with you ready for your presentation, okay? All right, that's a good reason for doing a booklet, because you can see the booklet is that material is so easily multi-purposed. I know Shannon has been working on circle prospecting, and we basically enhanced what we would normally do for circle prospecting to make a more formal, professional-looking booklet, almost like what you would do for regular marketing. So you can multi-purpose these things. You can send it via email. You can load it to Google Drive, create a link out of it, post it online. There's all kinds of things you can do with booklets. But back to this. What you want to do is this. This is sort of I'm going to jump into the meeting here. So now we have our preparation. We've got an article we're going to have ahead of time. We've got our forms we need ahead of time, and we've got a sample property ahead of time. Now let's assume we're going right into the meeting right now, okay? I will always start off with a little bit of chit chat, build rapport, ask everybody, how was their weekend, happy Veterans Day, whatever the case is, and then jump right into the article. So that's the first part of the agenda, is basically a little bit of warming up, get everybody a little chit chatty. And by the way, I would post specific questions, right? I would say, hey, Susan, how things going up in Lynchburg? Now, in your case, Susan, everybody's probably going to be from Lynchburg. but I would pick people out specifically. Okay, so please write down that, remember that. When you pick people out specifically, you generally get higher engagement rates. When you try to post things to all people, you don't get responses from all people. I mean, I'm living proof. I'm watching it right now. Melanie, by the way, is one of the best ones ever. It being very engaging and very responsive. So thank you, Melanie, for doing that. But it's herd mentality. When you feel like you're part of a group, you can kind of sit back. But when somebody reaches out to you specifically, you're more inclined to respond, right? Just basic psychology. So remember that. Pick people out specifically. Get them engaged. And remember this. I know I've mentioned it before, but it's worth repeating. You need three things to be successful. You need engagement, commitment, and action. Okay. So in any case, back to this. I will go into the article. And remember earlier, I had this article here, right? Encourage tenants to seek rental assistance. And by the way, I would definitely read it ahead of time. Matter of fact, what I would probably suggest is, or what I will suggest is, print it off if you're doing this online, like you're going to be doing typically. Highlight the key points. Okay, so when you go through this, you're not trying to recite this or read it word for word. You're picking out the highlights. Okay, and showing the article online as you're scanning through here. This is a short article. By the way, you can do this with blogs. It could be an article, a blog. You can go to the major news outlets, AP, UPI. You can go to NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, CNN, the whole nine yards. But if you just go to this link here, magazine.realtor/daily news, they got all kinds of articles. It's all related to real estate. Okay. So talk through that and ask questions. In this case, hey, is anybody, let's see, here's the California moratorium. Hey, do you have any relatives in California? Do you have relatives who own rentals in California, right? You can bring that kind of stuff up, or ask it, do you have tenants who've been affected by the virus? They've lost their job or whatever. They can't go back to work because they're in quarantine. And are they able to pay the rent, not able to pay the rent, fill in the gaps. So this is called the icebreaker stage. Go over the article, use it as an icebreaker, continue to build engagement, get people interested and excited about real estate, right? Now, once we do that, be careful, it'll run away with you. I mean, I'm trying to keep this to like 10 minutes. And I'm telling you, I'm going to say that, and I bet you $100, you're likely to go into 15 minutes before you know it, okay? One of the things you want to remember about these things, the clock will go in a blink of an eye. It just, next thing you know, it's an hour's gone by and it's all over. So try to use time management. Maybe have your phone close by on the clock setting so you can see it. Okay. Now what you want to do is say, hey guys, great comments here, great questions. I appreciate the feedback. I'll make sure we have other great articles to go over next time too. What I want to go over tonight is a sample of a flip. Okay. So here's these two forms. All right. Property. First we do the property information form. Let me get rid of that, the wrong one, and bring up the right one. There it is. Sorry, that's property rehab analysis. We want this one. Both property rehab analysis. Tell you what, this is really where I clicked on property inspection report, and it brought up property rehab form. And earlier it brought up, here it is, property inspection report. Sorry guys, so cut out that last part. Although that's the kind of stuff that happens in these live sessions. You'd be surprised at the chaos that'll happen, but just go with the flow. Don't ever get excited or get upset when something doesn't go right. Just laugh about it. Go with it. It's going to happen. In fact, years ago, I was on the news. I've been on the news several times, but I learned by being in the studio and watching how much actually goes wrong. And we're not even aware of it. We just kind of get in zombie zone watching the news. We're not even aware of what's the stuff that's going wrong. And it happens a lot. And they just roll with the flow. They're told, you don't ever stop what you're doing. You keep the ball rolling. Same thing here. So in any case, back to the practice session here. We bring up our sample flip, okay? And we will likely have some comments and remarks from the realtor who sold it. And if we're really lucky, we'll have even more details. But what you want to do is have your people participate and say, look, make comments based on the pictures. What did the grounds look like? type in your comments, type them in, write them down, and please type in the chat box some of the things you're seeing in the pictures on the landscaping, the pool, whatever you can see on the grounds, okay? Constantly get people engaged, keep them engaged. What you don't want to do is fall into lecture format. So I want you to think of this. Actually, write this down. This is really important. Our process here is an education-based process. We're doing this, obviously everybody wants to make more money. That's a given, okay? What we're doing is, the mode of operation is, this is a class scenario. Lecture means you lecture and they listen. Class means they participate. You get your students to participate with you. Can I get an amen on that? It's form of class participation. Actually, some of you should probably type in amen. So I'll see how many people type in amen. But in any case, you use this, think of classroom, audience participation, right? Then you go to the next section, building. Hey, what does that roof look like? Do you think that roof needs to be replaced? In this case, you would tell them, you don't actually write numbers down right now. You're just jotting down what you're seeing, okay? So you do this all the way through the form, all the way to the end, okay? And that's gonna probably take you, my gosh, 15, 20 minutes, half hour. You'd be surprised at the amount of and kind of questions you get, because you're gonna have a lot of newbies in there, and they're gonna feel like, I don't even know what am I doing? Where am I? What are we doing here? And just, say, hey, we're doing a practice session on what do you need to fill out when you're working on a flip? What forms do you need? And you're giving them the forms right here, okay? Now I'm moving a little bit faster than you typically would move, because typically you'll have a lot of Q&A. In any case, once you do the information form, and this is really part of how we do things, guys, then you move to the rehab analysis form. And this is where you start filling things in, right? The actual cost of all these things. What does a refrigerator cost? What does a stove cost? And this will definitely generate some questions, because people are going to say, well, that depends. I can get a $500 refrigerator, or I can get a $5,000 refrigerator. By the way, a little bit of audience participation, guys. When someone asks you, well, what kind of refrigerator should I get, or how much should I spend? What would be a good response? So let me see, let me go back to the chat box here. Where's my chat box? So type in, well, we got a lot of amens. Good for you guys. All right, so when you're doing the property rehab analysis form, and you get to the appliance section, always generates questions. Well, how much should I spend on a kitchen? What kind of refrigerator do you need? How much, what is in the neighborhood houses? Cindy's got it exactly right. Hang on one second, guys. Apparently I'm not sharing my screen. There we go. Okay. Susan says, scratch and dent. Yeah. It's actually Cindy's probably the closest, because it's commensurate with the houses in the area, right? So if you're in, every area is different. Where Susan is, you can get a really super nice house for $200,000, but to get a really super nice house in, Miami or Beverly Hills, I mean, you're looking at $1 million, okay? So everything is relative to the market and relative to the neighborhood in the market. So you really want to look at what's selling in a neighborhood. So you always want to, when you're working with clients, guys, boy, you can't go wrong with looking at other listings in the area and seeing what people are offering, look at the remarks. It only takes a few minutes. So the answer is it depends, and it should be commensurate with the neighborhood. Same thing with any other remodeling, garages, things like that. If you're in a neighborhood where there's no garages, you probably don't want to build a garage, okay? You see what I'm saying? So let's see, let me go back to the comments here. Yep, what market are you in? Thanks, Gina. You're not sharing your screen. Thanks, David. What's in the neighborhood? Thanks, Cindy. Depends on the property. That's right, Tom. Scratch and dent. So Susan, scratch and dent, I would do for rentals, but I wouldn't do scratch and dent for my flips. On my flips, man, I want that thing being, at or just slightly above market value. And I can do that by putting brand new appliances in there. Yep, surely depends on the area. Mo can't see your screen. So Mo, you hopefully can see it now. Thanks for letting me know. Yep, Tony, depends on what market you're in. Is it a rental area or a homeowner area? Yep, that's right. Thanks, Cindy. Gina, also use your water to drink when you can't think of an answer. Gives you a second. There you go. Not only that, guys, I'm telling you, you will dry out really fast. So be conscious and keep your whistle wet. So tonight's session, guys, I'm using the example of a flip in tonight's session. Let's see. Daryl said depends on what is your end use, rental use exactly. Let's see. Total, it depends on the property. Hey, Total, good to see you, buddy. Luxury props need to have. Yep. So everything needs to be relative to the house that's being flipped. Let's see. Gina also says open up a hard question to your participants. That's a good question. What do you all think? Yep. Exactly. Let's see. Gina and Melanie, two seasoned veterans. Jamila says, can you go higher on the comments above the amens? Oh, I think you can scroll up, Jamila, on your own screen. Let's see here. Cindy, everybody's saying hi to each other. We are recording. There's my email and login for Meetup. Cindy spoke. Let's see. Jamila, we're going to be sharing the spreadsheet for the roster, the team roster spreadsheet. Tom's saying if anybody wants to practice a dry run meeting over the weekend via Zoom, let me know. I would definitely, guys, if you want to practice with each other, absolutely. So let's see. Tom's asking if anyone wants to practice.
Yes, ma'am.
The booklet. I asked a question, Jamila, about the booklet.
No, I scheduled that because I couldn't make tonight.
Oh, hey, Cindy, mute yourself, Cindy. So, sorry, there we go. Okay, let's see. So, Jamila, I think we're caught up there. In any case, back to this. The main thing you remember is this is an education-based program, and we're going to be doing this every single month you meet. You're going to bring in a sample property. Now, what will happen, guys, over time, this is looking a little bit future forward. Your participants will start to bring in their own properties. Hey, can we look at this one? Can we break this one down in front of everybody? And the answer is absolutely yes. Okay. Looks you guys are already matching up here. Excellent. Oksana is saying, Susan, feel free to reach out to me. Jamila, how do you experience investors respond to the education format? So what we do, Jamila, is I always, when I do my marketing, I actually put that in there, that this is an education-based format. We're starting off with the basics and working our way up from there. And I tell them we typically attract new or newer investors. That's actually pretty important. I've learned in the past, when I would attract the seasoned veterans, it actually was a pain in the neck. Just being blunt about it. It was. They knew what they were doing. They did it their way, and it didn't matter what I said. I learned that if I could educate people, starting with the basics, doing it the right way, and conditioning them to being part of the process. So, Julia, that's an excellent question because I'm going to bring something up here, guys. The way people are behaving in your classes, I'm going to start calling these classes from here on out, is the way they're going to behave out in the field. So if they follow your instructions and they're engaging and committing and taking action, that's what they're going to do out in the field. They're developing the level of know you, like you, and trust you because you're basically organizing a group and making this whole thing happen. The seasoned veterans, typically they're going to sit in the back anyways and play on their phones and have private conversations. And I still attracted them. And I mean, I was okay with it because I could learn from them. Quite frankly, we would do deals together. But what I didn't want to have happen is this. So this is one of those things you want to please write down as well as remember. Is our format, and this is in the team member agreement or the Global Investor Group agreement, is it is an education-based format. And I would go as far as even calling it a class. In next week's class, we're going to cover basics of flipping, okay? Do not let it turn into a swap meet, okay? I know that runs counter to some people's beliefs. I'm telling you, I learned early on, almost purely accidentally, to not let it turn into a swap meet. In other words, let the veterans come up and try to dump off their cheap, crappy properties, because that's exactly what they'll do. They'll say, hey, Garrett, hey, you mind if I get up for a few minutes and talk about what I'm doing? I flipped a few homes and maybe I could share some experience. And I would say yes, Then it would come up and say, here's this one here. I just bought it. I'm kind of low on funds because we're remodeling 2 other houses. Anybody want this one here? I'll let you have it for a really good price. What they're doing is they're dumping off their cheap, crappy stuff. Who would get rid of a good investment, right? So I learned that lesson the hard way. So do not let it turn into a swap meet. Actually, if you do, it'll be violating our cultural agreement for the Global Investor Group. So you're going to bring case studies, and you go over case studies. I don't mind at all people sharing case studies. Now, at this point in the session, I would generally take a break. When we're doing this online, do not take a break. Do not take a break. Only when you're in person in a room like in a hotel or a library do you take a break. And if that's the case, take a 15-minute break. Tell them go to the restroom, go back and get a drink of water, cup of coffee, and meet each other, hand out your business cards and things like that. But please be back promptly at whatever it is, 8:15, something like that. Okay. Back to online. Do not have a break when you're online, because you will lose people. They'll go away and they'll get caught up with something on the TV, and they'll come back halfway through and say, hey, what did you guys talk about? It's just disruptive. So do not take a break when you're doing these things online. Okay. Now, but what I will do is go right into Q&A. Okay. And Q&A is where you get more engagement and more commitment. And tell people, here's what I would do. I would say, hey, has anybody recently flipped a home? Have you ever flipped a home? Whatever the case is, have you ever had a rental? Sometimes people inherit the rentals from parents or uncles and aunts or something, and tell them, hey, in 5 minutes or less, can you give us the highlights? Okay, and let them talk. And people, your participants, will easily listen to other participants because they're one of them. All right. So instead of it be only you presenting information and examples and case studies, let real people talk about theirs. And what's funny is, some people are really excited to talk about their big success, and some people are kind of sheepish and say, you know what, guys, the reason I'm here is I kind of screwed up, right? I didn't make as much as I thought, or it took 9 months versus 3 months, or whatever, or maybe they lost money or something. Let them talk. Don't be afraid of ever turning people off by someone else's mistake. It's one of the best learning things you could ever do. Plus, if you ever read my first 5 books, every one of them was reality. I didn't just give all the good stuff that happened. I gave them the bad stuff too, not all of it, but I made sure they had a healthy balance of the pros and the cons, the yin and the yang. Because just like any walk of life, whether it's relationships, your health, whatever, you're going to have good days and bad days. And just like anything else in real estate, you're going to have good flips and bad flips. Okay. So let them have the truth. They'll respect you for it, and they'll trust you for it, and they'll rely on you to help them go through the process of flipping. So in any case, let me take a quick second here and take some questions, because I just loaded it up pretty full there. Let's see. Yeah, David had the same question Jamila did. Let's see. There were questions for you. Oh, Jamila says there were questions for me. Okay. Let me see here if I missed anything. That was Gina's comment. Oh, depends on if you're selling rental or rented the property. Yep. Okay, we covered those. Let's see. By the way, I want to chime in on Gina. When Gina made the comment about drink water to buy yourself time, I would tell you this. I learned early on, if I really didn't know the answer, to not try to BS them. That kind of stuff will come back. And we all naturally, it's like a natural thing to want to, when you're in a teaching mode, to want to have the answer. It's just like it's a second nature. But what I learned to do is say, you know what, guys, I'll comment on it, but I'm going to follow up with another email once I've done more research. Well, let's just discuss it right now, and I'll follow up later. So I always give myself the option to find more, to learn more about what the answer should be. Okay, how do experienced agents, investors respond to this basic education? So David and Jamila had the same question there. Let's see. Yes. Do you redirect if it gets off course? Do you have any tips? Similar, yeah. Uh, One thing is for me, guys, you probably noticed if you've been around me long enough, I can easily go down a rabbit hole. I apologize, but I know it's just part of my nature. So the trick is to keep your discussion moving forward and keep the focus there. So what I would do is, whenever somebody I give the floor to somebody, I make sure I put a timer on it. Say, please, keep 5 minutes or less, 60 seconds or less, whatever the case is. And if if the discussion starts going down a rabbit hole, I say, guys, I tell you what, that's a great subject for another meeting we're going to have in a next month or the month after. Let's get back to the nice discussion so we can finish this subject, which, by the way, leads up to whatever you're talking about now in a future session. So I will do that because chances are everything you're talking about is relevant. However, sometimes people, whatever, they'll bring up something like, I'm afraid with the election that my property values will go down. Next thing you know, someone else says, yeah, the right guy won or the wrong guy won. Definitely head that off at the pass. It's interesting, but it's not going to help you make money. So the trick is without being impolite, is to bring people back to the subject of discussing and let them know what they're talking about is valuable, but it's part of another session we'll have coming down the road. So Melanie, thank you for that question. Very good. Let's see. Cindy put in the link for the spreadsheets. Oh, Susan's asking, where do I learn how to make a booklet? So if you go, Susan, to the website, okay, Real Estate with Gary Wilson, go into silver level, click on marketing campaigns. I'm clicking on it now. Okay. They're in alphabetical order. So as luck would have it, the booklet is the very first one. So Susan, you definitely want to go in there and grab that. I think we talked about it either the other day or a few weeks ago. Definitely download. There's a video to watch. There's a written version. There's a sample of a booklet and a checklist to follow. Absolutely, number one of the first, not just because it's first and lists alphabetically, but of the 5 levels of production, level 1 includes booklet, letter, and building your database. So right there. Let's see, that was Susan. Whoops, go back here, sorry. Everybody's asking, saying the booklet's in there. Okay. All right, I'm going to go back down here to the bottom. I'm going to get a lot more questions coming in. And we're almost done with the agenda, so this is okay. Let's see, I want to make sure I pick up where I left off here. Let's see, whoops, what do you all think? Okay, that was Gina's question. Okay. Can you go, we did that. Question, how was, we did that, how the experienced investors respond. I wish there was like an arrow to drop down on these things instead of just using their scroll tab. Susan, you have to know your market. That's Gina. Betty's up for practice. Anybody want to practice with Betty? That's good. Gary, can you send out instructions on how to set up a Zoom for investor meetings? Is Zoom, you know what I'll do? Beverly's going to be watching this, Tom. She could probably do that very quickly. A lot of these things Beverly sets up. In fact, you've noticed in the past when I set one up, I probably mess it up. Like I don't have the automatic recording and things like that. Let's see here. But I can tell you real high level what you do, Tom. Once you go into Zoom, click on webinars and you'll see a tab that says schedule a webinar and you literally just fill in the blanks, but I'll have Beverly put the steps out tomorrow when she does the email. Okay, this is from Susan. I have a question. I'm so sick of the typical look of flips here in my area. How safe is it to do flips a bit differently than others? So good question, Susan, a little bit off topic, but I'll just mention it, comment on it briefly, because you may get this in your session. I noticed as I traveled all around all those years, some of the best flips were ones where people took something and pushed the envelope a wee bit on the aesthetics. For example, I started seeing a lot of bamboo. Believe it or not, I saw bamboo people would raise the ceiling and put bamboo in it. I saw bamboo floors. I even saw bamboo walls. Okay. So I would say within whatever's marketable in your area, whatever's commensurate for the area, push it, but be careful. You don't want to remodel a house that's way outside what's normal, what would be considered commensurate with the area, excuse me. But we would do things like bust out walls between the old style living room, dining room, kitchen. We'd open that whole thing up, okay? We would put multi-tier decking out the back. We would do things like that. Open up the space inside, multi-tier decking, and something really cool and unique like bamboo. Now, if you're in, I don't know, someplace really conservative, middle of the country where they don't have bamboo, like maybe up in Chicago, I probably wouldn't do bamboo, but you may have bamboo as far north as where you are, Susan, because it's generally a southern plant, and you're technically in the south. Okay, so back to this. Let's see. Yes, so Gina said it perfectly. You have to know your market. Let's see, Jamila. We talked about experienced investors. Okay, Willie, how can I get more engagement with my group? How do I get their emails? So that's like two questions. So Willie, everything we're talking about tonight, that's really how you get engagement. You want to, when you go through an example, you want to have them fill out their forms while you're going through it. And as they're filling out their forms, have them type in their answers. Ask them, hey, who here put in there, $500 for a refrigerator? Or who put in here, the landscaping looked great in the pictures, except I noticed there were no flowers. Things like that. You really want to ask them questions, and if you're struggling getting engagement, by asking questions of the whole group, pick people out specifically. I would say, hey Gina, did you notice that there were no flowers in the mulch beds? What would you recommend putting flowers in a house like that? And get her to talk, right? So that you just remember this, guys, always ask questions, and the best questions are the who, what, where, when, how. WWWWH. Can't go wrong with them. They're open-ended. It requires people to talk. Okay. Now, for emails, Willie, to invite people there, you want to use whatever you got. If they're on Facebook, make sure you invite them on Facebook. If they're on Meetup, invite them on Meetup, or both. If you have their phone numbers, call them, text them, and email anybody you have an email for. If you don't have their emails, ask for them. Okay. In fact, for them to register for a Zoom session, they have to put in an email. So you don't even have to ask for it, quite frankly. You put out your Zoom registration link, and as they register, they'll put in their email address there, and you'll get them on Zoom. Zoom will give you a report, okay? I can't go into it now because I have to end the session to show you, but on your Zoom session, the one you created, if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see who registered, and it gives you their email address, okay? So that's the second question there. Okay. All right, Gina says, in a classroom situation, whoops, where are we? In a classroom situation, come on, computer. I'll get it right. Hang on 1 second, guys. I may have to go back up a little bit. I'm going to go back up a little bit because, unfortunately, the one thing I don't like about Zoom is the chat. You have to use the tab. You can't, there's no arrow to scroll down gradually. And I want to get back to, here it is, Gina's question. Okay, in a classroom situation, when you have the seasoned veterans in the back of the room, move to the back of the room and teach from there, it changes the dynamics completely. Yeah, so like in a live session, or sorry, in-person session, that's right. Now, what I would do too is I've had situations where when my group grew, like got to like 200 people, guys, it got to be a little bit unruly in the back there because people, they think you can't hear them. They're back there chatting away, and I literally would walk back there, and I'd jump in and say, put more around one of the rooms. Hey guys, having a good conversation, talking about a good property like that, and smile. I mean, be polite about it. But I would say, you know, come on up to the front of the room. We can talk about it up there. Of course, they wouldn't, and they would be quiet. But what I would say is, hey guys, if you could step outside the doorways, and because we it's hard for me to concentrate, and everybody's looking back at you because they can't hear up here, and that we'd have to do that almost every meeting because it just got big. Okay, Jamila, I have to leave in 10 minutes. I have another Facebook Live that I'm hosting in another one of my groups. Awesome. Good job. Good job, Jamila. Let's see, Gina. Uh, did I miss one? Classroom situation, Jamila. Um, what if someone asked me if I had done a flip? If you haven't done one, Jenna, um, you would say, I have not done one yet, and say that's one of the reasons I created this group, because I want to hang around other investors and learn from them as much as I'm teaching and providing information. You know, I'm part of the Global Investor Group Network. We're all over the country. We've got several thousand investors, and we've also got all the training material and all the calculators and spreadsheets at our disposal for us to use. That's why I did this way, to benefit you, and I would hopefully and learn along the process too. So that's what how I would answer them. Let's see, Janice, why would you break in person? Well, generally, Gina, they will go about 2 hours, and we just it's part of our habit. We just took a break halfway through, go to the restroom, get water, let them associate with each other. But also, Gina, when we started attracting vendors, their vendors wanted a time frame in there where everybody was coming back outside and going to the booths, going to the different tables where they could hand out their cards and pamphlets and brochures. And that was really more of a thing for the vendors. Let's see, Melody's asking, how long is the seminar? Melody, I would tell them it's an hour and a half, and I would plan on 2 hours. It would definitely take 2 hours, okay? Now, some people say, why wouldn't I just tell them 2 hours? I just learned if I told them 2 hours, it'd be 3 hours, you know? And I wanted to be done at 9 o'clock at night to get back and be with my kids and put them in bed. So I would tell them hour and a half, and it almost always went 2 hours. Okay, so Teresa is asking, hey, Teresa, hope you're doing well out there in beautiful California. So after going through the rehab report with the group, next we should ask the group for them to share experiences. Correct. Yep, definitely get them to share their stories, real life stories, okay? Let's see, Mo is asking, what are the most common questions we should prepare for? So probably the biggies, Mo, are gonna be, well, you know, can I do this? I don't even know where I would get the money. You always tell them, say, yeah, you could definitely do this, and tell them you're attracting the right lenders in the area. Some are conventional lenders like banks, and let them know you also have access, Mo. Every one of you does, by the way, through the lead source. You can go into people search, type, click on the middle column, click on private lenders, and you get all the private lenders in your area. Okay, so let them know you have a resource for that. And the other questions are going to be like, you know, I've never done this before. I don't even know where to start. And you would say, well, that's exactly why we're doing this. This is for new or newer investors. We're going to do this the right way. We got plenty of support from the network, from all the training material, and from all the other people in the network and all the other teachers like Gary, and tell them, you know, 3 or 4 times a year, I'll be teaching them live. Tell them that. And all the training material, you have access to share with them. Now, I mean, like on the website, the members area here, Mo, and everybody here, calculators and spreadsheets all day long. The training programs in the learning management system, you know, you got to go to that separate page to get to your training modules. You can't give that away. That's all copyright protected, but they can buy it. And when they buy it, you get money for it, okay? So anything on the website proper, like the silver level membership area, you're allowed to share that. Anything that's a paid for product, like the training material and the separate part of your dashboard altogether, you can't give that away. Copyright protected, but yes, you can sell it. We'll talk more about that at another time. Right now, I'm assuming nobody's going to want to buy anything. I mean, they could buy the first night a training program. If they say, how can I get more education? You definitely want to say, Well, I'll help you do that. I have access to all the training programs for flipping, buying rentals, wholesaling, managing rentals, and commercial. But tell them, this is where you can set an appointment, Mo. So let's set an appointment and we'll discuss what it is that makes the most sense for you. Could be flipping, could be buying rentals. Let's discuss that, and that'll introduce you to a training program you can take that'll help you learn exactly what you need to learn to be successful. And I'll be your agent doing that. Okay. You like that answer? So in any case, I don't know how. I don't have the money. Um, I'm not smart enough. Again, that's just, I've heard that, but that goes back to, well, that's why we learn, so you can be smart enough. Um, you know, can I do it with somebody else? Absolutely, they can partner up. Those are probably the most common questions. Where do we look? And you can say, well, that's where I come in. I have all the research tools, right? I mean, you got Real Flow, for example, but also down here website resources. You got all kinds of resources to determine where you're going to go. Where should you buy a flip or buy a rental? So where should I invest is important. Should I invest in my own neighborhood? I would generally say not really, but a lot of people do. Let's see. My spouse won't let me. That I would say. I was going to say something funny like I can counsel them, but um, I don't really do that anymore. But I would tell them, and I can get on a call with them. I don't mind, but I had this happen where I have a private coaching client, and he tries to keep everything with his wife. I said, dude, you're gonna pay the price eventually. It's going to happen, and the longer it goes, the bigger the price. We have to have a discussion. You have to have a discussion with your wife and explain why this is a good thing to do. And if you can't, let me know. Get her on one of the calls. I'll be glad to walk through some examples and explain how this is another way of saving. We call it investing. But anyway, so Mo, those are the most common questions. Let's see, Sina Lucart, I have a suggestion box. Um, let's see, I have a suggestion box from the audience for future reference. Yep. When you do that in person, you can do that. Online, guys, what you could do is the chat box is saved. Like this chat box here tonight, when I'm done the session, it's going to be saved on my hard drive under a folder called Zoom. It creates the folder for you under your on your hard drive. You'll get the Zoom folder under Documents. That's where it's stored. It's under Documents. Okay, so you should review that to look for other comments and questions you may have missed to give you more information, more material for future sessions. Okay. Yeah, chat box is a great tool. Let's see. Targan's asking, so when I get the queue, how many flips have you done live? Our classic response will be, yeah, so we just kind of went over that. Target, you would say, I'm preparing for my first one, and that's why in large part, why I created this group. I want to be around other investors just like you who are sincere and learning based and want to do it the right way, because I know I've got all the resources through my network. I've got all the training material through my network. I've got access to Gary personally. And what I want to do is do this with other people out in the field. And that's why I created the group. So that's your answer there. Let's see. Yeah, Gina says, yeah, that's why we're here to learn. Sean, do you ever ask the participants what topics they're most interested in and set up future Yeah, absolutely, guys. So thanks, Sean, for bringing it up. So remember in the chat box, you'll have that saved. You can always pull it off, but also ask them. We'll get to this in a minute. When you go to the end of the meeting, how do you wrap things up? And that's one of the things we do is, what would you like to discuss in a future meeting? Okay. So excellent. You're anticipating where I'm going, Sean. Let's see. Targan's asking. Whoops. Come on. Let's see. It may be good to say how. I just lost it. Maybe good to say I am creating this opportunity for us to benefit and learn. Where did it go here? Let me just make sure we get everything covered here. So when we do the Q, we got that. That's what we're here to learn. Do you ever ask participants future topics, target? Maybe a good attitude to say how I am creating this opportunity for us to benefit and learn. Yep, that works. Let's see. Sorry, guys, this is just taking me a second to get through these. Yeah, Tony, Joanna asked what if someone asked me if I had done a flip, and we covered that. I've definitely pushed paint colors. Yeah, people ask, those are some other good questions, like, how do you, where do you get the material? Well, we, Home Depot and Lowe's. And by the way, we, just as a personal note, we always use in our rentals, shawl, candy, truffle, shawl carpet, SHAW, candy truffles, the style. It's like a medium pile, low grade carpet, high or medium grade pad. That was our, I mean, we use the same carpet every rental, the same paint every rental, basic white satin, not semi-gloss, not flat, but satin. You can still clean it without having to repaint it, but it doesn't, it's not real shiny like semi-gloss. In any case, different subject, but you'll get those kind of questions too. And if you go to some of the earlier webinars on flipping and working with contractors, all that stuff we discuss in those webinars. Cindy's saying, okay, from an agent perspective, do a flip that will pass an FHA or VA critical appraiser. Some flips won't pass their code. It is integrity in the flip. Correct. Yep. Okay, let's see. Gina, get emails by offering something afterwards, an article, forum, whatever. Yeah, tell them, guys, tell them you've got access to all kinds of calculators and spreadsheets. And all they gotta do is give you their email and you'll send them to them. Okay. Let's see. Great idea, Gina. Thank you, Alyssa. Another cool way is to ask for 2 responses. Tell me 2 things you would do. Give me 2 ahas and make them think. Yeah, you always want to ask, what are your takeaways? What are your aha moments? Okay, let's see. Facebook. Be careful not to do too many invites at once. Facebook may shut you down for a while. Yeah, I've seen that happen before too. We want to create an event on Facebook, just like you create an event on Meetup, create an event on Facebook. Okay, let's see. I can't seem to get through the list of questions. They keep growing. Let's see. Melanie's asking, what is your average percentage of attendance versus how many people that you've advertised to? So industry average, Melanie, is about 1/3 show rate. Now, we've had a lot of success with ours going as high as 2/3 show rate. And it's in the instructions for how to do a workshop, that what we call increasing your show rate. But essentially what you do is you really push it hard the few weeks ahead of time, especially the first one. So Melanie, I think you missed a few webinars, but you really want to get your sphere involved. Family, friends, loved ones. I know some people are saying, I don't want to involve my family. Tell them this. Say, look, I'm having my very first online workshop for investors. Would you please participate simply for moral support? Okay. They may have no interest in investing, but they may become interested as a result. But more importantly, they want to help you succeed. Your loved ones want you to succeed, right? They'll compliment you online here. They'll post questions. And anybody that doesn't know you, they don't know that these people know you. They're going to think, gee, Melanie's got it really going on here. I want to be part of this group, you know? So, in any case, back to what I was saying. So a couple days before is when you send out any forms you're going to use that night, and say, please remember, have these forms with you. The day before, send another email, right? Please remember, you know, be there, be square, be on time. Have with you pad of paper and a pencil or a pen. Give them things to do, anchor them to the meeting, right? And also, you want to remind them on Meetup. You want to remind them on Facebook. And I would also call them and or text them the day of. I mean, literally, I'd do another message in the morning, and an hour before, do a reminder text message. Session starting in 1 hour. See you there. Be there or be square. All those things, at least 3 reminders will increase your show rate. And when you anchor them with attachments or forms, or bring with you pad of paper and pencil, all those things are called anchoring, and increases your show rate. but industry average is 1/3 churn rate. So if you have 100 people sign up, you'll have 33. Let's see, Lisa, do you start charging at some point for these, or is this just farming for future transactions? Oh no, Alyssa, we definitely will charge in the future. Online, I wouldn't recommend charging. Okay, but when you go live in person, definitely I would say $10 a month. Okay, and tell them well in advance. Hey guys, we're going to be going live in person at the local library. First one's on me. It'll be free, but going forward, I do need to collect $10 for everybody, and it's going to cover the room, the tea, the coffee, the cookies, whatever. Okay, that's really not a money maker for you. That's really not. But it gets them engaged. It also they're going in their pocket, pulling out $10, or writing you a check, or using your credit card, or whatever. The forms we give you do it all through credit card. Okay. And once they start doing that, believe it or not, it becomes easier for them to pull the trigger on a property. So, in any case, good question. Hey guys, I may have to cut this off here. I can't even keep up with the volume. I'm speaking seriously. I'm not. This is not part of the practice session. I'm just saying we still got 22 questions to go, and I still got content to cover. And unfortunately, I set up some calls for later on for some California folks, but I'll do my best here. I'll keep going. Let's see, Beverly Miller. You have to have email addresses to send the forms ahead of the meeting, right? Yeah. So you'll have some people's email addresses, right? The people you already know, like in your sphere, and the ones that register through to get to on your Zoom meeting, they have to register. In order to register, they have to leave their email address. So those are the email addresses that you use. So pre-registration is how you get emails in most cases, and then you have the email to send their forms to. Shabelle, you're saying or invited. I'm not sure what that's relative to. If you could fill me in, that would be great. Susan saying Zoom meetings say a meeting can last up to 40 minutes, but they generally can go 60. What is the optimal length for time for class? So that's the free version, Susan. The paid version, there's no time limit. Okay, it's like $15 and you get to do it unlimited. You could do it on Facebook Live, but it's free. But remember, if you do that, you lose some features and functionality. Okay. Now let's see. Whoops. Teresa Green, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, Teresa. Let's see. Melanie, okay, thanks. Where do we find the private lender contact information again? So Melanie, it's one of the things, it's one of the team benefits. I bought a lead source program for the GIA team members, and they can get their own login and password. And one of the things they get is a list of, they can search by zip code, town, whatever, the private lenders in the area. If you want to, Melanie, just send me a message tomorrow or tonight via email, remind me, and I'll create a list for you. Just give me a zip code or a town or something. Austin might be pretty large, but narrow down the parameters, and I'll send you one. Okay. Let's see here. Mo says thank you. You're welcome, Mo. Let's see. Zoom cuts the meeting off at around 40 minutes. How do we get more minutes? Yeah, you got to do the paid version, guys. If you do the free version, they will definitely cut you off for 40 minutes. We've been on somebody else's Zoom call, and in 40 minutes they knocked it off. Let's see, Mo. Let's see here, Teresa Green. Okay, if you're seeking your group's individual emails, we could ask them to drop their individual emails in the chat box where they can obtain a copy of the calculator as a download. Correct. And I've done that before too. I would say, hey, type in your email in the chat box here, and then I have the chat box downloaded on my computer, and I can grab them there. But pre-registration, when you use Zoom, have them pre-register. Just have them pre-register, okay? Let's see, Shirley. Sign up for next tier in Zoom, $15 a month. That's cheap. Yep. Well, let's see, Cindy. melcalendly.com, Cindy Pro. I will show you in real flow. Shirley, do you have that link? Okay, good. Let's see. Chris. We got Chris's text message or email or chat. Excuse me. Let's see. Oh, Gina says, yeah, Facebook put me in jail for inviting too many peeps. How about that? You could also create a Facebook ad for your event. Yep, you can do that. You don't have to spend a lot of money either. Let's see. We need their emails for emailing. That's correct. Perfect. Will do. Thanks so much. You're very welcome. Emilio says, excellent. Thanks. I remember when I hosted your seminar in our office, and I was so impressed with how many touch you had leading up to the event. Yeah, we had it's Beverly that works for me, Melanie. Over the years, I mean, we really kind of, I mean, I credit her. She's really good. She used to own a telemarketing company. Um, she used to be an investor, and we just learned along the way what it takes, and it was all sincere. I mean, when we first started, we were just a couple of people, little like chipmunks scattering around the universe, and we learned a lot over the last. We've been together a long time. My gosh, I think in total probably 15 years. And she's never got a license. Imagine that. And next, she's going to watch this, and she's going to call. I got to be careful what I say because Beverly watches these. And it's funny. She's called me out on a few things over the years. Let's see. I want to make sure because Reese says, "All right, so excited to share with my group that I am not a seasoned investor. Looking forward to learning from them as well. Plus, I, as a realtor, would like to know how I can be the investor's agent and that they want or they need. How can I best serve them as I learn the ropes?" Good answer. I like that. Yep. Let's see. Hopefully, I didn't miss anything. I think we got through it all, guys. Is Zoom? Shirley just put in the Zoom pricing link. Thanks, guys. Okay, guys. Let me wrap up the tail end of this. So, in any case, we talked about getting audience participation. Now, this practice session tonight. Look, it's now 8:15 Eastern time, and I'm willing to bet you we spent the last half hour on Q&A. And this was a great practice session, but you'll find the same thing. All it takes is one or two people to start asking questions and engaging, and go with it. Just go with it and don't cut them off. I mean, I just let them keep going. Okay, you want to create engagement. Boy, I can't emphasize this enough. Engagement means they're willing to let themselves be known to you. Okay, commitment is they're rolling up their sleeves and they're willing to follow your instructions. Okay, and action means they're taking action. They're filling out the forms. All three of those things you need out in the field. So let them demonstrate to you in your classroom sessions if they're willing to engage, commit, and take action, because those are the ones you want to work with. All right. Now, what I do is this. During the tail end there, when there's open Q&A and people are giving their comments on their past experiences, people will ask you, hey, Melanie, Teresa, Gary, can I speak with you privately? Say yes. Let's set an appointment. And if I was you guys, I would have yourself a Calendly link or Google Calendar. Like me, I use Schedule Once. Type in your link right there in the chat box and say, guys, go ahead and grab your spot now. Here's the link for my calendar. Grab a spot, set up a call, and let's go over this. Okay. What you want to do is in these sessions, when people are ready to buy, they'll ask what's called buying questions. Don't ever try to sell them anything in a live webinar with other people around. It's not appropriate, and you want to be one-on-one anyway. So you set the appointment. So even on your first session, I've had this happen a number of times. I mean, I can't how many times people would come back and say, Gary, I did my first session and I got 4 clients, but every time they would set the appointment the next day. Now, if I was you guys, I would team up on these things. I know like Tony and Johanna are teaming up, Gary and Mark are teaming up, Mo and Oksana are teaming up. I'm sure Sean and Lauren are teaming up. Jamila, you should definitely reach out to Leslie. She's in your area. David, you're a little bit further away up there in College Station. But team up with each other. Have your spouse help you out. Okay, maybe have them man the chat box while you're doing the talking. And when you're in person, you can actually have some forms and documents with you there. Don't do sales, don't sell anything, but have them, hey, here's fill this out. It's a questionnaire, it's an interview form. When we have our one-on-one, I'll go over this on our one-on-one. You see what I'm saying? So do those kind of things. In any case, and you always announce the next meeting. All right, announce it, type it in. have them pre-register well in advance, and always tell them to invite friends, neighbors, and relatives with them every single time. Okay, every single time without fail, and your group will grow more organically from people that are like the ones that are already there, which is very important. Let's see. Tony's asking. We have 2 organizers. We'll both run the meeting. Yeah, what I would do, Tony, is I would tag team, and what I mean by that is one of you could be the facilitator, right? Keeping things going, watching the clock, manning the questions. The other one could be the presenter. Or you could say one of you starts off by doing the icebreaker with an article, and then the other one gets into presenting the sample property with the forms. Okay. So I would work with Johanna, and just don't worry about being right or wrong on the first one. Just pick an arrangement that works for you guys. Um, I wouldn't alternate week to week. People have tried that. It's better to have like conformity, uniformity, consistency, things like that. So think about your personality types. In fact, you should both do the DISC profile. It's free. Go to Tony Robbins and look for the DISC profile. Do that, and the high D person should be more the driver, and the high I person. Well, let me put it this way: DIs and IDs should be the presenter, and the person who's more of a C or an S should be the facilitator. Okay, so that's just an example. You could do that there. Let's see. Alyssa's asking, will we get a link onto the recording of this? Right? Too many distractions. Neither. Yeah. So Alyssa, remember, guys, as I was trying to get ready for tonight in the last 5 or 10 minutes, I got a number of text messages from people saying, I don't have the link. Remember, every week we have a session, every week without fail. Well, Thanksgiving, there won't be a session. Most cases, we have a session every week. The very next day, Beverly sends out the recording and the schedule coming up of the upcoming webinars. Scroll down to the bottom, click on each one of them, and pre-register ahead of time. Okay. I apologize, but I'm trying to get ready for a session. I can't answer all the text messages and emails coming in at the last minute. I just don't have the capacity to do that. So always get the email from Beverly the next day. Go down and register for the next coming webinars, and then you'll get reminders, right? That's the key, or you get reminders for doing that. Let's see. Cindy says Calendly.com is free. Thanks, Cindy, for saying that. That is a great idea. TonyRobbins.com disc landing form. Oh, thank you, Melanie. So Melanie typed into Tony Robbins disc form, guys. It's one of the better ones I've seen. Let's see. I think we were caught up on the chat. Okay, so the wrap up. Invite others. Ask them what subjects they want to cover in future sessions. And always have them pre-register in advance. Okay. And then one more reminder, say if you would like to speak with me in person, here's my calendar link, my schedule once link, whatever you're using, Google Calendar link. Please set up the meeting now. Don't wait. Those time slots go fast. But let's have a one-on-one and see where you are and see where we go next. And that, my friends, is how you get some business. Okay. So, in any case, I think that is it. Any final questions? Any more follow-up questions? Thanks, Helen. Good to see you again. Let's see, Betty, thank you very much for saying that. Thanks, Gina. Hey, guys, thanks for the awesome participation tonight. This is a great example of, oh, hey, Shirley, your message got cut off there. It says, if we don, and there's the rest isn't there. Oh, if you don't have a flip example, yeah. So Shirley, if you haven't done a booklet with flips, everybody remember this, or write this down. Go to your MLS, do a search on solds in the last year, then sort the results by address, okay? And you notice when you sort by address, anytime a property is sold twice, it'll be together back to back. And surely, typically, if it's a flip, the first sale will be a low price, second sale will be a high price. And generally, when you see that, it's going to be probably a flip. But also look at on the second sale, the one that's the end user sale. Look at the question, look at the comments and the remarks and the pictures, and it'll say, hey, newly remodeled kitchen, new windows, new carpeting, whatever. And generally speaking, it's going to look a lot better than the last sale. I would print those off or save the links, do like a PDF screen capture, whatever you got to do to save them. Because sometimes the MLS will cycle them off, right? So make sure whatever you're using, you actually screen capture it. And then what I would do is, if I saw the same realtor was on the listing side when they resold it later, and they were the buyer's agent for the flipper on the first sale, I would call that agent and I'd say, you know what, I've got some clients looking to flip it in that area. It looks like your client did a pretty darn good flip. Can you give me a little bit insight? What did they actually do? How they do such a good job? Um, and you'll get more intelligence other than just what's on the remarks in the listing. But that's what I would do, Shirley. If you haven't not done a booklet with flips in it, that's the exercise we do to get flips for the booklet. So do the same thing here. So Beverly, hey guys, Beverly Miller, thank you, Beverly. Beverly would like a working buddy. Who would like to be a working buddy with Beverly? And I can tell you, I know Beverly personally. She's a hard worker. She's a fast worker. I mean, literally the weekend she signed up for our global investor agent team, boom, got one under contract. I'm dead serious. And she's a veteran too. So if you want to team up with somebody, I would team up with Beverly Miller. So there you go, Beverly. You got your Susan Murray. Oh, you guys would be a great match. Hey, Beverly, Susan has been in the game a lot, and she does a high volume. I've known her for years. She was one of my very first students, and we've had a lot of good conversations. I got a good feeling about that combination. And I tell you what, I'll do. Susan's only a few hours for me in Virginia, and Beverly, I'm, a couple times a year, I'm going right past your house. So I'm gonna meet up with you, and we'll go to dinner or something like that. Okay. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna head out of here and check on my mom. But good session tonight. Thank you very much for your participation. This has been one of the best ones. Remember, next week is Monday night. David Evers is bringing in his tax accountant. So if you want to be on a good weekly session and get some good education on preparing your tax returns for investors with investment properties, be on next Monday night. And then each of you will be doing your own live session next Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. Please send me your registration links so I can register for your next week's sessions. Okay, please do that. Okay, guys, have an awesome night. God bless you and your families, and I will see you next Monday night. And I think that is, yeah, yes, okay. Start the recording.